Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Young and the Restless Friday, February 28 recap. Sharon and Phyllis solve Riddle. Billy furious over bad news. The Young and the Restless YNR recap for Friday, February 28, reveals that Sharon Newman Sharon Case and Phyllis Summers Michelle Stafford will solve a new riddle while Billy Abbott Jason Thompson gets furious over some bad news. Here's what YNR fans can expect in Friday's exciting episode. After Sally joins Audra Charles Zulika Silver at her table, she'll offer updates on the trip before talk turns to Phyllis. Sally will really be rooting for Billy to find success in his new venture, so she'll accept that Phyllis is part of the deal since they click as work colleagues. Audra will also open up to Sally about her connection to Amy Lewis Valerie Pettiford and how she's starting to feel like a family with Amy and Nate Hastings Sean Dominic. Sally will tear up over Audra's soft side and how her views are evolving. When Holden Novak Nathan Owens pops up, Audra will introduce him to Sally. Holden will turn on the charm, but Audra will make it clear that they'd like to get back to their private conversation. Sally will wonder what that was about, so Audra will explain the story of how she met Holden in LA and how he recently posed as Damian Kane Jermaine Rivers when he first came to GC. Audra will admit she didn't tell Nate right away, but he gave her a pass once she confessed her previous link to Holden. However, Audra will suggest she downplayed things since her relationship with Holden was actually pretty intense. Since Audra will want to keep the past buried, she'll remain hopeful about Holden going back to LA soon. At Crimson Lights, Nick Newman Joshua Mora will tell Daniel Romalotti Jr. Michael Graziadei that he was up most of the night mulling over what-ifs. Nick will still have concerns since there are just too many red flags when it comes to Phyllis and Sharon. Daniel will suggest that maybe Nick's looking for trouble when there isn't any. Nick will remain worried since Sharon and Phyllis went missing at the same time and got back in touch with strange excuses at the same time, too. Phyllis and Sharon both called on burner phones after claiming they lost their real ones, so Daniel will start to see Nick's point. It'll be strange that Phyllis only called Summer Newman Allison Lanier and that Sharon had Nick speak to Mariah Copeland Cameron Grimes and Faith Newman Raylan Castor instead of calling herself. Daniel will also mention that according to Summer, Phyllis didn't want Billy knowing about her business deals or that she was even out of town. When Billy pops up, Nick and Daniel will try to assure him that everything with Phyllis was just a misunderstanding. Billy will still have questions since he's been calling Phyllis and getting her voicemail. Daniel and Nick will suggest that Phyllis lost her phone, but Billy will pick up on the fact that they're keeping things from him. Since Nick will mention knowing about Abbott Communications, Billy will complain over Phyllis' loose lips. After Billy pressures Daniel enough, he'll find out Phyllis supposedly went out of town to work on some surprise business deals. Billy will get agitated over Phyllis doing things behind his back since this isn't a great start to their business relationship. As Billy leaves, he'll rant about continuing to call Phyllis so he can stop her from whatever the hell she's doing out there. At the abandoned psychiatric facility, Sharon and Phyllis will awaken all snuggled up together on the sofa, but they'll quickly pull apart. After Phyllis mentions needing coffee, a nearby coffee machine will start up. Sharon will still have concerns about getting drugged, but Phyllis will take her chances on a cup. Once Phyllis pushes Sharon to take a cup, she'll try being more civilized and suggest they have to stop sniping at each other to get through this. The captor will eventually deliver another riddle to Phyllis and Sharon's phones, so they'll figure out it's a reminder of their chocolate fountain fight. After some bickering, Sharon and Phyllis will admit that they regret how they handled it. Phyllis will wonder if maybe they're being reminded of all these trivial things so they can look at the big picture. After Phyllis hints about the real source of their disdain, Sharon will think it's obvious that it all goes back to Nick. Phyllis will eventually start yelling at their captor before Sharon points out that they've played by the rules. The captor will hint about considering a commensurate prize, but Phyllis will lash out over Sharon screwing things up and showing fear. As Sharon and Phyllis go back to fighting, they decide they can't work with each other. After Sharon says may the smartest woman win, she'll insist she's beaten Phyllis before and can do it again. The latest episode of The Young and the Restless delivered yet another thrilling mix of tension, betrayal, and unexpected alliances. On February 28, the show continued to weave its intricate web of drama, revealing deeper layers to the ongoing storylines. Among the notable moments, Sharon and Phyllis teamed up to solve a long-standing riddle, while Billy found himself consumed with rage over shocking news that threatens his entire world. Sharon and Phyllis, the unlikely duo. One of the most riveting aspects of this episode was the unexpected collaboration between Sharon Newman Sharon Case and Phyllis Summers Michelle Stafford. The two women have a complicated history, full of rivalry and clashes, but in this episode, they found themselves working together for a common cause. Their alliance was born out of necessity rather than friendship. Sharon, who is known for her calm and thoughtful demeanor, has always been the steady force in Genoa City, while Phyllis, with her bold and sometimes abrasive personality, tends to take risks without thinking of the consequences. But when Sharon found herself facing a puzzle, one that could impact not only her life but also the lives of others, she had no choice but to seek out Phyllis. The riddle they were trying to solve was linked to a mystery involving a missing person, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. As the two women exchanged tense words, Phyllis was initially hesitant to work with Sharon, still holding on to the animosities of the past. However, Sharon's persistence won her over, and they set aside their differences to dig into the puzzle. It wasn't a smooth process, and both women had to push aside their egos to make real progress. Their combined effort led them to a breakthrough in the case. Sharon's intuition and Phyllis' quick thinking eventually pointed them in the right direction, revealing a crucial clue that would change the course of the investigation. In one of the episode's most memorable moments, the two women shared a moment of realization, with Phyllis flashing Sharon a rare smile of genuine acknowledgement. It was a brief but significant moment of respect between the two women, and it hinted at the possibility of a new, if somewhat reluctant, friendship. However, given the volatility of both Sharon and Phyllis' personalities, fans shouldn't expect this alliance to be without its bumps along the way. The chemistry between Sharon and Phyllis was electric, as both actresses delivered strong performances that captivated the audience. Their quick-witted exchanges provided the perfect balance between tension and humor, ensuring that viewers were on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting each new development. Billy's rage, a storm is brewing. Meanwhile, the rest of the episode focused on Billy Abbott Jason Thompson, whose temper reached a boiling point after receiving some devastating news. Billy has been through countless emotional upheavals over the years, but this particular piece of bad news seemed to shake him to his core. Viewers were left on tenterhooks as Billy stormed around Genoa City, trying to process the information and figure out how to move forward. Billy's reaction was nothing short of explosive. His frustration was palpable, and he could be seen clenching his fists and gritting his teeth as he fought to keep his emotions in check. His anger was directed not just at the news itself, but also at the people who had kept the truth from him for so long. His deep sense of betrayal only added fuel to the fire, making it clear that this situation would have lasting consequences for everyone involved. Throughout the episode, Billy's rage was contrasted by his vulnerable side. He's a man who has often been caught between his desire for redemption and the weight of past mistakes. His latest ordeal pushed him to the edge, and in a powerful scene, he vented his frustrations to Lily Winter's Crystal Callowell, who was trying her best to calm him down. Despite her best efforts, Billy's fury seemed to have a life of its own, and it was clear that he wasn't about to let go of whatever had upset him so deeply. As the tension between Billy and his loved ones escalated, the episode hinted at the possibility of major changes for Billy's future. The bad news he received could be the catalyst for a series of decisions that will affect his relationships, his business ventures, and his emotional state. Billy's unpredictability makes him one of the most compelling characters on The Young and the Restless, and viewers are sure to be glued to their screens as they wait to see how his story unfolds in the coming weeks. A fractured world, the impact of the news. While Billy's emotional outbursts were the focal point of his scenes, the ripple effect of his bad news will have consequences for others in Genoa City. His anger and frustration will likely cause tension between him and those closest to him, particularly Lily, whose relationship with Billy has faced its fair share of challenges. How she chooses to stand by him or whether she decides that she's had enough of his volatility remains to be seen. The impact of Billy's news will also be felt by his family, as the Abbott clan is never far from the drama that unfolds in Genoa City. With Jack Abbott Peter Bergman always looking out for his brother, it's inevitable that Billy will find himself at a crossroads, torn between his loyalty to his family and his need for personal freedom. The tension in the Abbott household is palpable, and the ripple effects of Billy's fury could have lasting repercussions for everyone involved. Looking ahead, what's next for Sharon, Phyllis, and Billy? The Friday, February 28 episode of The Young and the Restless left viewers with plenty to chew on. Sharon and Phyllis' unexpected partnership may have provided some much-needed answers to the mystery at hand, but it's clear that this alliance won't be without its challenges. As the two women continue to navigate their complicated history, fans are eager to see how this relationship evolves. As for Billy, his anger and frustration seem to be building toward an explosive climax. The bad news he received could be just the tip of the iceberg, and the fallout will likely affect not only his personal life but also the business dealings that he holds dear. How Billy will handle the weight of this information and how others will respond to his fury remains a central question that will keep fans on the edge of their seats. In typical The Young and the Restless fashion, the episode expertly blended suspense, emotion, and drama, setting the stage for even more intense storylines in the coming days. As the riddle is solved and the chaos escalates, Genoa City is in for a turbulent ride, and the fallout from these key moments is sure to reverberate for a long time to come.